Thank you for tuning in to Three Queens and Things, a space where queens connect. Our podcast will be bringing you the latest and greatest topics of self-love and womanhood.
Yes, yes. How y'all doing today?
Good. We all right.
Good. We are. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Well, today I think...
we didn't introduce ourselves.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's kick it off.
Okay.
I'm Ati.
I'm Mimi Ford.
And I'm Sola T.
And we are...
Three Queens and Things.
Well, I thought, I was talking to the other queens the other day, and I thought it would be good to have an episode about our truth and our journey. So our journey and our truth. And I think it's I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I just haven't really heard an episode where you're vulnerable to talk about all the things that could go on, whether right or wrong. And so we definitely wanted to create a space today for us to let y'all know some behind the scenes tea.
We ain't got it all together all the time.
Behind the scenes,
yeah. Who got ghetto?
I said we ain't got it all together all the time.
We got up.
This is
right here,
live and fresh.
We ain't even 5 minutes into this.
So as we do with every episode, we're going to kick off the round table. And I think a great way to start the conversation is let's rate our experience. So our journey since day one of us sitting down to talk about the podcast to where we are today, recording our 6th episode? Fifth episode? So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being ain't shit, 10 being fabulous of all the fabulousness, how would you rate your experience so far in this journey?
My experience so far during this journey, I would say,
drum roll, please,
a solid 5. Okay.
Oh, yeah, 50%.
We at the halfway point, in my opinion, and that's just because I feel like I love what we're building. I love the platform that we're building. However, I feel like we have a long way to go, and that's okay. Like, we're on episode 5, and it's just only up from here, in my opinion. So we have some work to do, but we're definitely capable and gonna put in this work to get where, to that 10.
That's what I'm talking about.
I see
what you feeling.
I want to rate it as 6. I feel like with Mimi, we do have a lot of room for growth, which is expected. We're only, like you said, 5 episodes in. I'm really excited to see where we go, like a year from now even. However, this is really good for me personally. And I appreciate you ladies. I don't know if I've ever expressed that to you.
No.
But...
This is how Three Queens keeps it real. No, you ain't said shit. But we hearing shit now, so what you got to say?
No,
I'm listening.
I'm good for starting things and not finishing it. And y'all holding me account like I have to keep going with this, and I appreciate that you are pushing me through this and making me uncomfortable a little bit and making me talk about things.
She knows she's damn wrong with a little bit.
Right.
And making me talk about things that I'm not open to usually talking about, and yeah, you're pushing me to grow. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, Sola T. How does Sola T feel
about it?
How
you feeling over there, Sola T?
I would give us a strong 7 out of 10. And that's
good.
That is including a lot of, frustrations that I've had personally. And I know that we've kind of had to work through and are still working through as a group. But I think I give it a 7. I think kind of off the cuff, I would say probably about a 5. But when I really think about how much we're growing, or at least our potential for growing, I have to give it a 7, because when you think about 3 queens coming together from 3 very different personalities, 3 different backgrounds, do 3 different things during the day as their job, have 3 different friend groups, I think we have to give a little bit more credit to the experience. Absolutely. And that way, not because of how we transact things, but how most people don't get to episode 5. Most people don't get to episode 1. So I think that there's some celebration that is definitely due, but that those 3 points is valid. Those are valid in terms of we have a lot of things that we have to work on personally, work on as a group together, and work on from a podcast standpoint. So even aside from just the functions of how we run the podcast, how we operate in that way, like us on a personal level, we still have to interact with each other. We don't just show up here. We have to,
ain't easy.
And that's not always easy with our personalities. And I know there have been some disagreements or misconceptions that we've had to work through and had awkward conversations and difficult conversations, and probably some more conversations to come. But I would give it a 7.
Do y'all want to start with from our first sit down meeting at Blue Martini, or do y'all want to talk about
let's talk about the sit down. I think we talked about that a little bit during our first episode, but I think sharing some more about how
the
that really
sit-down,
came together.
I feel like it was natural. It was like, okay, like this naturally fits. Like, this is fucking dope. Yeah. Like, let's go. It's I mean, for me personally, it was just a notion like, I want to talk. Like, I have a lot to say. I have a lot of opinions. I need to be able to express myself, and not just on social media. Like, I really want to talk. Let's bring some things to the table. So I feel like it was dope, like our first meeting, and it really just fit, you know.
For our listeners, this was originally Mimi's idea. She came up with the whole podcast idea.
And then Atian,
Mimi
approached Atian, and Atian looped me in. So I think we have to give that credit. Mimi is the reason why we all here, because if it wasn't for that vision, I think we always have to give credit to that vision, and we all add our different pieces. And I think, you know, out of all the feedback that I get, that's the number one thing that people say to me is that you guys have 3 personalities, and you are able to disagree without a way of feeling disrespectful or, you know, to really bring your perspective. You don't we over talk each other sometimes just because how we communicate. But I think just in kind of like we validate everybody's experience, and I think we try to do that even outside of getting to the studio. I think we all try to, or some probably more than others at time, try to see that other perspective, but also try to validate your own perspective and that your own, you know, each individual's personality.
I would say from the beginning, it felt really natural. Like from the time that we all sat down, and even though y'all had never met each other before, like the conversation, y'all really just
conversation.
Talking,
like, we were just talking. That cheese platter was nice to have too. That
what our conversation was like.
So what y'all want to talk about? And then we just started throwing out topics.
That's what they didn't want to tell, how they was making fun of me. That's why Mimi over here with the auntie laugh. She didn't hit me with the auntie laugh.
The conversation was like about dick pics. And I never met this person.
And
she had okay.
And she threw me out. I think I threw her out because she didn't expect me to have the same.
I didn't. I mean,
mind you, DeSola showed up after work with a button up on and a pencil skirt, talking about dick pics. So we were a little.
Listen, I am a complex, audacious person. Okay, I have many facets. I have many. I won't say many personalities.
Personalities. Let's just put it out
there.
I have
a dynamic personality.
We are dynamic.
I think it's about being different.
So
I can't always bring you what you.
I thought that was dope.
Right.
I didn't expect that to come out your mouth. So it's just, you know, you can't judge a book by its cover. So I love that.
And I definitely was energized to like keep the conversation going. I think people have told me for years, like, you should do a podcast or you should do a vlog or a blog. And to be honest, I'm not self-disciplined enough at this stage in my life to do any of that. So I think for kind of Atian in the same boat, like this keeps me going to know that I have to be accountable for 2 other people and in the vision at large. And I can't just be like,
if I would have started this on my own, I would have quit before I even came out with the first episode.
Yeah, so that, I mean, and I think even testing my personality to like, when we are beefing or whatever we want to call it, to really still rise.
Bully,
see, here they go. Oh, we're going to talk about the solar bullying. Oh, that's going to come out this episode.
What would y'all say would be your favorite part of this experience so far? Like throughout, from day one up until right now where we're sitting here today, what has been your favorite thing about this whole experience? Like connecting, just building a new friendship?
I think the studio time, to be completely honest. That's been my favorite part.
Coming in here.
Because I like our conversations.
It's a little therapeutic for me. To be able to just, you know, express yourself and just talk and, you know, shoot the shit or whatever and have these hard conversations and go, especially our last episode, like I really, you know, opened up, you know, I really said something out loud that I'd never even recall saying out loud. So it was, you know, it's been therapeutic for me.
Yeah. I think I'm a person that I don't think most people realize this about me, but I think out loud. So when I'm having conversations, I'm thinking of my thoughts. I'm putting that together. I'm trying to hear, like, is that valid? Does that make sense to me? Is that what I believe? And I think sometimes that can be hard for me because most people think, like, you said something, you believe it. And it's like, to have a space where I can really flesh out my thoughts has been nice without, you know, having everybody feel like it's
cathartic.
Exactly what she's like. This is a learning process for me. There's things that I've said it before, like I don't know exactly how I feel about that, and so to have the conversation, hear other perspectives has been very warming.
To not know.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's okay that when we leave this studio, we go back to life. If we come back and not feel the same way, to feel that way.
We are allowed to change our mind. We are women.
Yeah.
And I'm good at that.
What has been the most challenging thing?
Our personalities.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Dealing with our 3 personalities has definitely been the most
That's
difficult.
Probably the best thing about this. That's what makes our podcast great, but it's also the most challenging thing is like trying to get on the same page, especially because, like y'all said before, like we weren't really the best of friends before we started doing this. So we're still kind of getting to know each other in a sense. And
I think that's the beauty of the process.
Trying to be like business partners, friends, build a friendship and a bond between the three of us. And then.
And when you are also recognize that there are sub-relationships within this. So I have a relationship with Atian that's been existing for a few years now, but I didn't have that relationship with Mimi. So there may be things that I say to Atian or I do that make sense or may not make sense for that relationship, and Mimi has to view that and interpret that and learn me through that. So I think that there's definitely been some interesting shit going on.
Yes.
Let's talk about this group text. Oh, I'm sorry. I was about to jump into this troublesome group
She
text.
ready.
She ready to
She
jump
is
into the
sitting on ready.
This group text, y'all. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, mine is just learning how to, and it's challenging, but I can't communicate how I would communicate with somebody, outside of the situation, like how I communicate with my family or my, friends. Like, they understand me on a certain level, and sometimes my communication may come across a little rude.
You got
or
a little sharp mouth?
Yeah.
Sharp mouth?
Yeah, I got, can be kind of crazy. So, just watching, how I say things and trying to make sure I say them in a way that, is understood without being disrespectful.
Yeah. No, that's real.
Yeah.
So what about this group text?
Yeah,
What you feeling, girl?
Listen.
Atian feels.
They be stressing me, y'all, to start that group text. I'll be
I
at
thought it was
work.
just going to be me.
I ain't got no hair, but if I did,
they
I'd be
be
pulling it
stressing
out.
me.
Oh,
and I'd be
man.
stress-free with that group text.
How we be stressing you?
Trying to just coordinate stuff. I feel like maybe the best way for me to I'm not a texter. Like, I'm good for reading a message and putting the phone down and be like, oh, I'm responding in a couple minutes and just not doing it.
I get that.
But I feel like there's a lot of things that are taken out of context in our group text, which is challenging when you're trying to coordinate stuff and talk about business, and there's emotions that are brought into things that emotions shouldn't be put into, and it's difficult trying to understand what two other people are saying to you at the same time and not read too much into it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's difficult communicating sometimes and not taking some things personal that weren't meant to be personal in a group message.
Yeah, I think, to be fully vulnerable, I know Atiana and I have had to have a sidebar to talk through some of that, because I know that my personality can come off very abrasive. But I
feel like mine can too sometimes.
Yeah, I think that I've always just tried to trust that people know my heart and people know my intentions. And I feel like that's very clear in how I move in my life. And so I think there have been times where I'm saying things to really check on you, and it's made it seem like I'm antagonizing you. But in my mind, like, this is a safe space. We got to do this together. So if I'm annoying you, if something's bothering you, like, I need to know, and I need you to tell me what I can do better. And I think that's not always been interpreted. Like, we've had to come to a space to have conversations about what that looks like, and kind of also me being open to what that, asking for feedback and not feeling like I'm getting feedback. It's just like, oh, it's whatever, it's okay. I think we've had to really be honest with ourselves and with each other about things that, even little things, they might not change, but just to be straight up about it.
And my personality is, I think I struggle with too. I'm just all about being on the same page. So, like, there's a lot of things that I put in the group text where I'm not. I guess it's kind of looking for confirmation just to make sure, like, y'all good with this? I had this idea. Y'all good with this? Y'all want to move forward with it? And I know these ladies are very much more like, I got this idea, I'm about to run with it. And they don't need that same confirmation that I do. I just like to make sure that we are, as a unit, moving and collectively agreeing on things. And I think, to kind of backtrack, the conversation that Sola and I had started from a team building event that Mimi suggested that we have, because we were getting a little feisty in the group text. And we did a team building. We went hiking, and it was a great time, and we really connected. And at the end of this activity, we had a conversation about how we feel like things are going so far, and that was brought up about how I am kind of looking for validation in a sense. And I mean, it started with me talking about why I bring ideas to the table and what exactly I'm looking for when I bring those ideas to the table. And DeSola felt like I need to take the lead on things. She tells me that I'm really good with ideas, and I just need to trust that, they're going to be with me.
Mm-hmm. I think even just vet it out a little bit. I think because we are three people, 9 times out of 10, we're all three not going to be on the same page. Mm-hmm. So if my rationale behind that is if this is something you passionate with, there's been things that we're all passionate with that we just say, hey, this is what I think is important. What do y'all feel about this? But I think sometimes you look for that confirmation ahead of time, and we trust that if you're passionate about it, it's going to be some good shit. Like we don't have that concern. And I think learning that balance of affirming you, but also telling you like, hey, it's not going to get done if you just put it in this group chat. I need you to tell me what your vision is, show me what that looks like, because that's also your vision. We want you to be able to create and have that space and lead in that way, because I feel like we all kind of do that. And so I think that definitely has been a point of learning for us, is kind of understanding how our personalities like to move forward with things. And yeah.
I mean, if we're being honest about the conversation, it was like, I'm just sitting here like, okay, like, you guys have a relationship before this process. So I seen you being, very passionate, very vocal about what you were feeling.
She's talking about Solar T.
Towards Ati, yes, sorry. And Ati was just like, all right, so we going to Target or what? Like, and I'm just sitting here like,
always receptive to feedback. I understand that. And it wasn't even like it was a situation that required me to be... It wasn't like feedback. It was a conversation, and I just kind of felt like I spoke my part, DeSola spoke her part, and I'm like, okay, now what we about to do? Let's move forward. Like, we got it off our chest. Like, I'm thinking like all we had to do was let it off our chest, and now we're about to move forward. And I guess the way I went about that was dismissive, and I apologized. And I apologized to her when we had our side conversation. But I do have a tendency to do that. And you ladies brought it to my attention that was me being guarded once again. And that's why I said I appreciate this process so much, because I'm not usually, like, with any other relationship, friendship I've ever had, I'm not.
Me neither. I don't have, and I've said this, I don't have friends. I don't have women that I communicate on a daily basis, like, besides my sisters. So this is all new for me as well. But I'm learning that I just can't cuss you out and be like,
see you tomorrow at dinner.
Right. Like, okay, I can't just say how I want to say, when I want to say it. So I have to, it's a learning experience for me as well. And I love it. It's helping me grow as a person. Like, I can't just talk to people any kind of way. Like, you got to
be looking at us like, y'all tripping.
Yeah, it's like,
she been in a group text like, y'all good?
With the eyeballs.
And see, the thing is I think because me and Atiyan have had whatever in the past, and we've kind of like stopped speaking and started speaking and kind of had that back and forth situation, I think I'm a very observant person, and I pay attention to people on purpose. And so I know certain things about Atiyan, and whether she wants me to know them or not, like I know certain things about her. And I think that it can be frustrating to her sometimes if I directly talk about those things with her. And so I feel like that day on the mountain was one of those things, and I was just looking for you to expand yourself and deepen that conversation, because we can both speak our part, but at the end of the day, we still got this project to work on.
Right.
And hopefully we still have this friendship to figure out.
And I'm sitting here like, y'all ain't going nowhere. Y'all not quitting. Y'all better
I had my keys in my hand.
Out.
I was halfway down the mountain. I'm like, okay, see y'all at Target. No. They wasn't trying to hear it, y'all.
I can say that, Atiyan, I understand you on a certain level because my mother's a Cancer, and you are a true Cancer to the core.
And I keep telling you, I'm all about self-preservation, and y'all are not letting me have that. Y'all are not. I don't want to talk about stuff
so
that is
that's just not gonna work. We're gonna have to be uncomfortable.
It's not even like I was trying to avoid confrontation. I was trying to just be like, okay, we good now. Like it wasn't even.
Though, but it was clear we weren't.
We weren't. But
I'm just saying in the sense where she, you've said some little slick stuff. Or, in the group text, like...
No, she called... Mimi, what she call you? A flip-flop?
I'm a flip-flopper, because I'm in the middle of
I'm a bully.
Two, and she's a bully. And I took it upon myself to post a picture on Instagram. She didn't like the picture. And she sends a message like, we need to check with each other before, in caps. And I'm looking at the message
tell the whole story how she liked that picture in the group chat.
She approved the picture.
And then she went and unliked the picture.
She's so petty. She unliked the picture after I brought it to her attention that she liked the picture. After she tried to check me because I posted the picture and then put in caps before. We need to check with each other before. And I'm looking at the message like, well, damn. I could be like...
I'm
He
so
don't really go
mad
in.
that
There's a lot of
iPhone
pictures
tell
that y'all
you.
done had me with the mouth open and the
I feel
sand.
like
And it's just all for the
we've all
cause.
had
It's all
uncomfortable,
for
you
the
know,
cause.
things that we particularly didn't like posted on social media. But it's good. So she brought that up, and I feel like that was really petty.
To unlike the picture?
And it was
So unlike the
simmering, too,
picture.
No, it was hella unpetty. It was hella petty.
It was so
Unlike that.
petty.
And then she gonna try to play it when we, cause DeSola gonna ask you in person. So you unlike the picture, I see.
I'm like, okay,
And she
we
gonna try
dealing
to
with a true
what?
petty
You know what Ikeon good for?
answer.
She good for what? I don't remember that. I don't remember liking that.
Right.
I swear y'all know me.
Try to play coy.
I didn't know that
Coy with the
iMessage
boy,
tell you
right.
when you unlike something. Either way,
But
yeah, I have some room for growth. I have some room for letting
We
people
all
in
do.
more,
We all
and
do, yeah.
and the fact that DeSola and I, we do have an on and off friendship, or we have in the past, but I can't do that this time because we have a business relationship
Yeah,
now
y'all
as
can't
well.
get y'all
And I
not
don't
gonna
want to. I mean, DeSola's a great friend. I told her that when we had a sit down. She's so supportive. She's always been a good friend to me. But we have our differences because we do have two very strong personalities. We're both very passionate about whatever we talking about, and it's just we clash for that reason. So we take time apart from each other, and we can't do that this time. So it gets a little uncomfortable trying to work through that. Where
And
we
I
would
know I'm
normally-
always apologizing to Mimi, like, I'm sorry. Because it's really been a blessing to get to know Mimi in this process. And I think she's done a
I love that we
fantastic job
blush.
of dealing with what we dealing with and kind of dealing with the different dynamics that are here. And I think she always is just kind of like, all right, let's regroup, let's figure it out. So I think Mimi is definitely, you know, from the start of having the vision to now, and kind of, you know, having all of our frustrations,
Work it
being
out,
able
yeah.
to
We gotta
manage
work it
that.
out.
I think we all have decided to work it out, and I think that needs to be celebrated because there's a
Absolutely.
lot of things that get dropped off or don't pick up because we don't get along.
I told Mimi in Target after we finished our hike, like, I think she done with us.
she said the solar's not
The Solar
fucking with
ain't
us.
coming back.
I
No,
wasn't fucking with Atian at that moment. I wasn't.
I just think of it as a marriage. You know, you can't just say, well, fold the papers up,
Yeah.
fuck it.
But I
You
can
know,
be mad though.
Yeah, it can be.
I can have
be
my moment. I
pissed.
can be sad. I can be
But
frustrated.
we gonna work through it.
Yeah.
Now or later. So
Well, let's talk about some of the feedback that we've been getting since we're doing, and I think that's another thing that keeps us going, and that's another reason why we said we can't just walk away from this, no matter like the differences that we have personally. We have people that have really been pulling for us, people that have really been supporting us.
I'm
from
talking
day
about
one.
people, boyfriends, people, uncles,
Right.
people, aunties,
People in
people-
Canada.
people
We got
mamas.
listeners in Canada.
yeah, Canada,
Like what?
That's dope.
Crazy.
No, I think that has been like amazing. To the text messages, like I've always told y'all time and time again, I have some dope friends, but like really they have here they go.
We know your friends are dope. Okay.
But they have really, like, I really have to take a moment to celebrate them, like from messages that I get randomly to sharing to you know, participating in contests, to doing it all. Like they have really made this experience to be such a great experience. That's why we bring it in the 7, because I think we're impacting. And I think one thing I love, the piece of feedback I love to hear is like, man, it felt like I was across the room talking to y'all.
I love hearing
that.
that.
I love hearing that, because that's what it's about. Like I am very much so centered in empowering yourself and building confidence. Those are things that I'm passionate about in my everyday life. And so this has really been a way that I know people are having conversations that they wouldn't normally have. And that's something that I love. I love that. I love the conversation I'm able to have with my boyfriend. My friends are able to have with their boyfriends talking to me on the phone like, I don't agree with this.
Right.
But, so I think that's brilliant to me.
Is.
And I love that about this project.
And
I
the
love
fact that we're so early in and we getting this kind of love and support is so.
Like I'm
it's
not
so
worried,
dope.
to be honest, like, okay, the likes and all that comes, because of course eventually you want to make some cheddar, some cheese, some coin. But I think really I'm also I'm very much so focused on the content of the messages that we're delivering and the spaces that we're creating. And so far I've heard nothing but fantastic things about that. So thank you guys for listening.
Yes,
thank you
you
for supporting, keep sharing. Keep having these conversations. Send us topics that you want to talk about, because that's what we're here for. We're here to create those spaces and really carry on something that hasn't really been here for us, especially living in Las Vegas. Like I haven't been able to find many of those spaces. They're here, but I haven't been able to find many that are really promoting us to talk in 2017.
Right.
So that's beautiful.
There's been people that have shocked me, and okay, you're tuning in.
Right.
Like it's very shocking. I'm so passionate about this. Like I wake up talking about it, and my husband will be like, I'm like, Barry, you listening? Like, this is my ideas, and I'm so pissed, and this is what's going on. I'm like, are you paying attention? He's like, has a smirk on his face. Like, you really are passionate about this. And I'm like, yes, I am. This is like my baby.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, it definitely surprises me, too, the people that reach out to me to say that they are tuning in. I just don't even realize. I don't even think I realize how much support we really have. Like, people are sharing our stuff that I haven't talked to since, like, high school. Yeah. People that you don't even realize are paying attention are listening, and I appreciate that so much. It's just crazy because from the first episode, like, we just been getting so much love. I get text messages. I get people that write me on Facebook directly, people that comment on our social media. It's so dope.
Yeah, I think if there's one thing I could ask more of our listeners is to really start the conversations on social media.
We want you to talk to us on the page.
We're trying to find more ways for it because we want this to be a participant. I know we're thinking of going live for a couple episodes moving forward. Yeah. So things like that. Like, is there something you want to know about us individually? Because we're having these conversations, and I'm also big on context. So I think, we try to share with our roundtables a little bit more context with each other. But, ask us questions. We want to know.
We don't bite.
Yeah, we want to have an episode coming up where it's just all questions from you all. And we sit down and go through them. So please, with this post, write us.
We got to post our Ask link. You can even write us anonymously if you don't.
Ask
if you have
is
questions.
A little weird, though. We might have to find a different venue because I was in there trying to play with it. I was like, should have been left in 2004 for a reason. No. So we're going to find a way. And we'll post the link.
Well, in the meantime, follow us on Instagram, 3 Queens and Things. Like us on Facebook. And our Twitter is 3 Queens, 3 Queens and Things and 1. So, hit us up.
And Mimi will respond into your messages because I can't keep up with social media.
Yeah, she's terrible. Terrible.
Yeah, that's another thing.
That's trash.
Here we go.
That's another thing.
Her social media ethic is trash.
She wanted it so bad.
I don't keep up with my own social media.
But isn't this what we try to tell you?
Right.
But
this is bad to me.
I did not talk bad to you.
She came with a
all I
wanted
you was to not post pictures of me with a muffin top. That's all I asked.
Girl, the muffin tops is gonna be there. I was there. Okay.
Put a filter on it or something.
Ooh, you hot?
Girl, it's hot in here.
Put a filter on it.
But the social media, I think that's a great example of kind of us having to figure things out. Like we had the social media, we had a little incident with a picture. Atiana said she wanted to take it over. And that just hasn't been the best fit so far. So I think it's being open.
So
we all gonna talk our shit because we shit talkers. Right. But I think that's an example of the work that we do with each other, and I'm proud of that work because it could be very easy to be like, well,
right.
And I think just bringing it up, like, hey, I think it takes a lot of self accountability.
I'm gonna post on my lunch break.
I be trying, y'all. From the time that I show up.
What did you say in there? I see.
You take your lunch yet?
You take your lunch yet at 5:00 in the afternoon?
I was supposed to post on
I want to make sure
Facebook
you eating. Like, if you ain't going to lunch, it's a problem. Okay,
girl, that's against some type of work code.
So, yeah, I was supposed to post on Facebook at 1 on my lunch break, and I go to the gym usually on my lunch break, so I think it slipped my mind. I got off of work at 5. Mimi texted me talking about, so did you take your lunch break yet?
I just want to know.
It was valid. I show it, and what did the solar do?
Trying.
My bully self got in there with the laughing face.
Bully.
Because you have to be, all serious aside, we have to hold each other accountable.
Yes, absolutely. I be trying, y'all.
Great, but we have to hold each other accountable.
So some things to look forward to. We are working on getting some apparel out. We are working on rolling out a couple items with our logo. We are also working on a networking event. We're thinking about doing a brunch if you would like to come out and meet us and talk
and
to us in person.
And a skate party. What y'all feel about a skate party?
Oh, definitely let us know because, listen,
this is another conflict we've had.
We got ideas.
We just want a place where our listeners can come out and meet us and talk to us in person, and we're trying to figure out the best way to do that. So within the next coming months,
she ready to get her ATL on.
Girl, I already got my girl.
I'm excited about it. I just don't know if that's the best way for people to meet us for the first time, but we ain't gonna get into that. So we have some things coming up, y'all.
Yes,
so definitely follow us on social media so you can stay up to date on what we're working on and talk to us. Just post questions, respond to. We are wanting to hear from y'all.
Yeah, and I think too, like even kind of off the party, we're gonna move forward, but off of that, we want you guys to meet each other Because I think that's a big part of the sisterhood and womanhood that we're talking about. That's why I think a skate party would be fun, because it gives the opportunity for people who also listening to have conversations. It's not just about us. I don't like that platform. I don't like that approach to it. Of course, I want to kick it with y'all, say what's up. We're going backwards skate. I'm going to fall. You're going to laugh because I'm clumsy. But I think that's what it's about, is gathering people into spaces and doing things. I love skating, so I can't say I ain't been skating since I was a little kid. That would be a lie. But I think those are the things that bring that joy out of you, bring that presence and that energy. So let us know how you feel. Help split the debate. That's what we're saying.
I want to say real quick, too, before we get out of here, that I really appreciate, I know we talk about sisterhood and womanhood a lot, but I appreciate the men that fuck with us. Because I know the topics that we talk about are mostly women related, but I think I'm starting to learn more. And that's one thing I'm appreciating, too. Like, we get a lot of support from men, and I want to do something. That's why I'm kind of torn on what our first event is, because I do want it to be something that brings out and comfortable for everybody.
Roller skating.
Well, okay, well, we're gonna talk about the roller skating. I don't know.
But no, that's real.
But shout out to the kings that listen to us.
Shout out to the queen. Shout out to the royalty, because we want to be inclusive of everybody. If you're not conforming to either of those identities, just got to say that.
Yes.
But no, I think around, I think I appreciate so much the fans, everybody, the listener, the supporters.
I don't like that word.
I don't like fans, so I had to say that.
Our supporters. Shout out to our supporters.
Our
Thank
queens,
you.
our royalty.
Yes.
Shout out to y'all, and shout out to Mimi and Atia, and I think I appreciate y'all.
Shout out to you, Sola T. Shout out to you.
Mimi.
This laugh. Mimi, get out the microphone with the
laugh. All right. Well, again, I got to have some homework. That's something
What's the homework, girl?
What's the homework assignment?
We don't be turning in our homework.
The homework assignment for this episode is for y'all to comment. I want each and every follower to comment on this post, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on SoundCloud.
Secretly listening to us and stuff.
I don't think
you can. No, you
on
can't.
SoundCloud, you can comment. You can comment on YouTube. You can comment on Facebook. Yes. You can comment on Instagram. Just hit us up, even if it's hey, we heard you, Sola T and Mimi and Atian, just something. I think that's the homework assignment for this week.
Got it.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in. I'm Ati.
I'm Mimi Ford.
I'm Sola T.
And we are
Three Queens and Things.
Until the next time, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.